Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fanzone Debate. We are here for a history-making event, one that has been months in the making. Both of these people asked me that they wanted to play the other individual. I finally set it up, and then life took a dump, and we've continually pushed it back. But we're here, and it's happening. Bill versus Barr. Probably building it up more than it needs to be, but I think we're just in for a good time. I like both these guys. Good debaters and just fun people to be around. So I'm looking forward to it. I got Cody and Mark here with me. Cody, we'll start with you. How you doing, my friend? And what do you think of this one?
I think everybody involved in this match pushed it back at some point, even judges. So that's impressive. I don't think that's ever happened in the history of the debate.
Yeah.
I know at least me and Mark did at one point. I know those two did. I don't know about you. You may have
A
been
hurricane did too, I believe.
Hurricane, yeah. Really, really a lot of things happened. No, I'm excited. Barr is one that I think has a lot of potential in this league. Just kind of slips up on like some stuff he picks or some like too nice in debating. And then Bill's chaotic as fuck sometimes, but he's really good at getting to the point and making the judges remember that point. So should be a close match. Pretty excited to see both of them fight because they're very similar but different on a lot of things. I don't know. It's going to be a weird one.
Yeah. Mark, your thoughts?
Yes. The good Lord did everything they could to make sure that this match wouldn't happen. And they failed, quite frankly, because we're still here and we're going to do it because it's on the schedule. So, yeah, let's go ahead.
All right, well, we'll get into it. We'll start by talking to the lower ranked player, Bill. Hey,
yeah,
how the hell are you?
I mean,
what are your thoughts? And actually, now that I'm thinking about this, I'm totally wrong. Barr is the lower ranked player. I think
I'm already here. It's fine.
I think he just got his first category in before you did. And
yeah,
so
it's fine.
But I was like, wait a minute. You have contended for titles in this league. Why are
Which
you
is madness.
Like, Bill, how the hell are you?
I am good. So, like you guys were saying, acts of God tried to stop this match from happening. But when God tries to stop you, you spit in the Almighty's face and you spank his little bottom. And you say, no, we are doing this. You're welcome, the internet. But other than that, this should be fun. Me and Barr, actually, funny enough, we argue a lot because we're friends. But he has some weird choices in life. Like he likes Billy Joel. And I'll never understand that because if there's one thing I hate more than Billy Joel, it's when people actively enjoy Billy Joel in front of me. So, a little bit about me as you. Although, what does my taste say? My favorite band literally has a song about farts. So, I mean,
what band?
Take that for what you want. But I am actually looking forward to this. He gave me musicals because he's a fucking prick. But I gave him Cynthia Rothrock because fuck you.
What is this band that sings about farts?
They're the Descendants. They're like my favorite band ever.
Fair.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's bring in Mr. Barr. Mr. Andrew Barr, welcome. How are you doing, sir? And your thoughts on the filmography of Cynthia Rothrock?
It's a bottle of red, a bottle of white, whatever mood you're in.
I will fucking turn on the weather machine and send another hurricane back down to you.
That's okay. Look, God tried to stop this match from happening, but we looked at him and said the internet needs this, so shove off. And then he sent a hurricane my way. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. We've had so much time to prepare for this match, and I don't think that either of us have prepared that much, to be completely honest with you.
So, in all fairness, we live very fulfilling lives.
Yeah. Exactly.
Also, some stuff's been going on behind the scenes for both of us.
Some bad shit, yeah.
Yeah.
So
we're here now.
Yes.
We're gonna have fun. We're gonna make the most of it, and I am excited. So let's get into it. This is how it's going to work. We gave the players prep questions on August 20th of 2024. They are now going to debate those questions tonight before our very souls. And people laugh because, oh, well, we shoot far ahead. Yes, this does not air until November 25th, but it is October 17th today, so it still took a long time. But anyway,
we let it bake. We had it in the oven. Yeah,
you gotta let it
You
bake.
need to let it rise.
ruminate.
So we're gonna get into it. We gave them the prep questions. They're gonna debate those questions tonight before our very souls. How it's gonna work is they're each gonna get a 1 minute opening, followed by a 5 minute freeform, followed by a 1 minute closing at the end of the debate. Cody, Mark, and I will write on our boards who we thought won the debate. At the end of the debate, or at the after the votes are, I'm losing it now because Mark just makes me laugh. If you get 2 votes, you get a point. First person to 3 points wins the match. Any questions from the players?
Can you help me do math? I'm trying to figure all that out.
I cannot, but let's.
I can do math. 1, 2, 4, 5.
Thanks, buddy.
Let's do this. All right, so we are going to kick this off with the first category, which was drafted by, I know I said we were going to start with Barr, but do with Barr's category. But because Bill is higher ranked, we are going to start with Bill's first category, which is horror icons. So we are going to start with the horror icons question. And that is, what is the most over-the-top kill done by Jason in a Friday the 13th film? This is how we're going to kick it off. And we're going to start with you, Bill. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
So I'm going to be upfront with you guys out there on the internet. I'm not going to say that these are all solid films. In fact, the one I've pulled my answer from is pretty bad. It's one of the worst, if not the worst. Well, no, not the worst. But the kill I went for is Jason fights a boxer in Jason Takes Manhattan, or really that movie should have been called Jason Takes Her Fucking Ever to Get to Manhattan. But the scene goes like this. This guy who's a boxer thinks he's tough, and then he tries to actually fist fight Jason. This goes on for like 90 seconds of this dude repeatedly punching Jason over and over and over and over until he's just dead on his feet and tired. And he says, "Take your best shot, motherfucker." And in one uppercut, punches this fucking dude's heads off over a building, rolls into a dumpster with the lid shutting. Fucking Keystone Cops level comedy right there.
Time. All right, we are going to move over to Barr. Barr, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
When I want an over-the-top kill in a Friday the 13th film, I want it all. I want the sound effects. I want the visual effects. I want really campy acting. I want something that makes me just fucking cringe in the best way possible. And that is the frozen face slammed onto the counter in Jason X. Jason wakes up on a lab, like a slab in a space lab, and immediately just takes this one scientist girl, shoves her face into like liquid nitrogen, lifts it back up to show the camera like it's a 3D movie, and she looks like Jack fucking Frost just had like a face mask on, and just slams it down onto the counter, just pouring everything out. It is beautiful, bloody, and just completely over the top.
Time. All right. We got the two picks. Guys, 5 minute freeform when one of you starts talking. Remember, I will throw up the 1 minute warning when the time comes, and then I will give a 10-second warning when that time comes. If one of you is talking too much and not letting your opponent talk, I will throw up to let your opponent talk. Don't make me do that. I'll send
We
Nick
call
to your
that the
house.
Bill rule.
The Bill rule, that's fine. I'll send Nick to your house if you do it, and he'll beat you, Bill. He'll take you out. So don't do it. 5 minute freeform. One of you starts talking.
Barr, you ignorant slut.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, how dare you? This is personal now.
No,
so
dude, here's my thing. If the question was, what's the coolest kill done by Jason, this would have been a walk in the park for you because this is bar none the coolest. Is it over the top though? I mean,
Yes.
I think it's not really because it's over too quick. It just happens so fast. I mean, it's cool as hell, but it's not even the most over the top kill in your movie. That's the thing. Mine is literally 2 straight minutes of Jason essentially playing with his food, letting this guy tire himself out. Why? I don't know. I don't know why a zombie suddenly thinks this is fucking funny to do, but he does. He lets him just wear himself out, comically punches his head clean off. And then I can't believe a slide whistle didn't make a noise on the way down as it falls into a dumpster and then the lid slams shut. That is the textbook definition of how to go over the top, sir.
Yeah, well, here's the thing with yours. It is a minute and a half of build-up to one thing that you can kind of see coming. And even then, it's such a far away angle that you don't get to enjoy how over the top it is. Whereas with mine, the moment he wakes up, it's over the top because you get that screech from the violin.
But no,
And-
because the kids are having sex.
But then you also get the moment where her face is in the liquid and you see the angle as her face just completely freezes over and you hear the as it just freezes. He pulls it out and it is the cheapest looking makeup effect, which is his chef's kiss. And they zoom in slightly when he pulls her face out. It's like a 3D movie. And then just the bright red everything just coming out of her face as it just shatters open. I don't know how you don't see this as over the top.
I see it as gruesome and kind of awesome, but here's the thing. In your movie, you have a textbook example of what over the top is. And it's in we'll call it the holodeck because that's what the fuck that is. It's fine. it's the holodeck where Jason literally throws a guy over. He lands on a fucking drill. And that would have been enough, except for now the body starts spinning down the drill on the way down. Like, that is way over the top. We didn't need any of that, but we're all the better for them putting it in anyway, because that shit is fucking hilarious. And that's what I want. I want the joke to kind of keep going. That's why we watch these. We don't watch these things for the plot of the fucking characters. We want to see some fucking crazy shit. That's why we go to these films. And I'm sorry, mine delivers that in spades. No one remembers shit about this film other than it took them fucking 67 minutes of an 89-minute movie to get to the fucking title of the film. But they do remember that. That is the only good thing about that because of how outlandishly cartoonish it is. It is preposterous. It is absolutely the most bonkers thing they did in any of these films, and we're all better for it, sir.
Well, first of all, we're talking about these two scenes. So that other scene that you brought up, A, doesn't matter, and B, it's not as over the top as mine.
It's more over the top.
Because here's the other thing about it. You get everything with mine. The sound effects, the visual effects, the suspense. Yours doesn't even have underboob, which it's a Friday the 13th film. Like, you gotta have something like that in your kill. But also with your kill, it would have been so much more over the top if it wasn't the one boxer just hitting a standing slow Jason as he's like walking backwards. It would have been so much more over the top if it was kind of like a slugfest between the two of them. And then Jason just holds him and uppercuts his head at a closer angle so we could all enjoy how amazing that would be. You get that close up with mine, not only in this like the shot of her face, but also the moment her head hits that counter.
Here's the thing. If this were a two-way battle, that would not be what makes the scene great. What makes the scene great is Jason, even in his zombie brain, realizes he doesn't need to fight this guy because he knows he's going to win, but he's going to let this guy embarrass himself. And I counted this for 92 straight seconds of constant punching, which sounds like he's hitting wet meat the entire time. And we got a perfect shot of that thing popping off like a cork and rolling down. Fucking hilarious.
Time. Okay, let's go to Barr first. Barr, you get to close first. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
So as I said, you get the visuals, you get the sound effects, you get just an amazing kill, but also like the music adds so much to it. Like at the moment that he like throws her across the room and she hits that thing, you see the other guy on the opposite side of that door listening to fucking headphones, and you see her like pounding on the side like as a shadow, and it just like builds up the dramatic tension, and it just like builds and builds and builds until you get this amazing payoff of just blood and chaos and just like the most insane thing that you could have possibly seen. That's what I want in an over-the-top kill, especially in a Friday the 13th film. You're just kind of slow, it's monotonous for a payoff that we kind of see coming already. It's like, oh, it's a boxer. Jason's going to hit him, probably going to knock his block off. Oh, look at that. And then everything so far, you don't enjoy it.
Time. Okay. We're going to move over to Bill. Bill, you have 1 minute to close when you start talking.
All right. Like, once again, I said, if we had Coolest Death, I mean, that one wins hands down. It's the number one on every list ever for good reason. It's really cool, but it's over too quick. And plus, I'm going to reiterate this part. The fucking death propeller scene is way more over the top than that is. Like, that is gruesome and gnarly, but not over the top. Mine is literally like, you went over the top. How about 92 seconds of setup for a quick punchline that just makes that punch that much funnier? It could have just ended there, and that would have been funny. But they're like, no, we're not going to end it there. We're actually going to see it fly off comically, bounce down like a pinball, fall into a dumpster, and have the lid slam close. Just like nothing in real life happens. It is absolutely preposterously ridiculous that this is how that whole scene played out. It is very self-aware. One of the few times where it actually pays off, and it is legitimately funny, and there's a reason why it's the only thing we talk about this dipshit film.
Time. Okay.
All right.
Good job, guys. I'm going to bring in the judges.
I appreciate the chopping mall shirt. Well done.
On brand, baby.
I
did just put in pre-order for Street Trash on Vinegar Syndrome, so my life is complete.
All right. I'm ready. Are you guys ready? Okay. Good stuff. I thought both had a grasp of their scenes. Both, I think, had a different idea of what over the top in their head kind of meant. But I like both picks. I think both picks are valid. I was actually with Barr for most of it, but I ended up going with Bill. And the reason why was I thought Barr was doing a really good job of explaining like how just absolutely insane his whole scene was, and that it has everything like the crazy music, the acting, the under boob was a great point because Friday the 13th, the side boob, under boob, the whole thing. And Maggie and I famously once kept a boob count. But
I call mine a titty tally.
I called it. We called it titty counter, but I didn't want to say that. But at the end, Bill's closing, I thought he did a really good job of like kind of recontextualizing his whole fight for me, because the whole time I was like, I like the sound of his scene, but I don't see how this is over the top. And then when he really laid out like the fact that it is so ridiculous, nothing in reality, the way that he talked about how the head, like it could have just ended with the head getting punched off, but afterwards with like the head rolling around like a pinball and everything, and just how fucking insane it is. I thought Bill was maybe arguing for funny scene, but then that ending, he kind of talked about like why it's over the top, because it makes no sense and it's dumb and awesome at the same time. Whereas like, and then him throwing in that Bars is just the coolest. That really kind of like, no pun intended, kind of
Yeah, slightly.
Yeah, so I gave it to Bill. Mark.
Yeah, the underboob comment was honestly maybe almost a knockout blow. Nice going on that. I did go with Bill. I kind of agree with Tim here. I think kind of the fight was sort of won within like the last minute or so, like in the actual fight and in Bill's closing argument, where I think Bill kind of did a good job of setting it up how, like, just whenever you really think about that boxer scene, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why does Jason let this guy keep punching him? Why is it going on for so long? And of course, like, he hits his head and it doesn't just, fall off. Like, it flies off the building and goes into a dumpster where it slams shut. Like, that sounds, if you were just to tell me this scene, it would sound really stupid. And I don't know why it would go through all these steps. And so I think kind of in that bit, like, where, yeah, like, even though Barr's scene is really neat and I think does fall in line with the actual tone of the franchise, do you think Bill kind of sealed it there with, like, his kill just being slightly more over the top?
All right, Cody, your vote doesn't count. Where would you have gone and why?
I think it's weird. We're taking over the top as meaning it's bad or silly or goofy. I don't think that always has to mean over the top. Can just mean over, like, killing aggressively. Or at the end of
That's kind of what I thought when I.
At the end of the day, I took it as a punch versus a smash of the table because I don't really care what leads up to the scene. If I'm punching for 92 minutes, it means nothing because the question was over the top kill. Everything before it means nothing. Everything after it means nothing. It's the moment of when the kill has happened for me and what makes it the most over top versus kill. I went with Barr. The reason why I ended up not going with Bill is because he was like so much on what's happening before. And then what happens with the head, like, bouncing around? Like, it's goofy, it's silly, but I don't know if that's considered as much over the top when it was just a punch. And the Jason X thing of, like, oh, there's a more over the top. Well, that doesn't mean that this scene's not also over the top compared to the punch. So overall, I think Barb did a good job, but me and Tim disagreeing on the first question. Who would have thought it?
Who would have thunk it? All right.
Cats and dogs living together. Mass hysteria.
It's also going to get real
that's our
confusing because both our names are the same amount of letters. So I keep every time I see a board, it was like, does it say Bill or Barr? I don't know.
With double letters at the end.
All right, guys. We're going to get into the next one, which was drafted by Barr. It's in the category of musicals.
Yeah.
Time to get sad. Your question is, what is the saddest moment in a classic musical? Time to weep. Barr, 1 minute when you start talking.
So I went with Nancy's death in Oliver. It's Nancy is like one of the only characters, the only main character who genuinely cares for this kid. And the one person that she seemed to really, really love throughout most of the film is the one who basically kills her right in front of Oliver. And it's just one of those moments of, like, God damn, this kid can't catch a fucking break. And neither could her. Neither could she. Like, she had it kind of really tough too. So when you balance the loss of her for her own life and for Oliver, it's just such a fucking tragic scene. And also, kind of for Bill Sykes too, because she was the only person who really loved him. So that's just sad.
Time. Okay. Let's go over to Bill. Bill, 1 minute when you start talking.
So what I have picked out is the end of the film, and I'll butcher the pronunciation of this, and I apologize. The Umbrellas of Schoenberg. Classic film, beloved cinema, so good. Basically, the film follows Genevieve and Guy. They are young people in love. They want to spend the rest of their lives together, and he is drafted off to war. He is writing letters to her. They stop coming. Genevieve's mother pressures her to get married. She does. She marries rich. She moves away. Guy goes through a despondent period, but the final scene ends. Guy is now married. He has his own kid, and him and his family, they own a gas station. He runs it. Genevieve pulls up as she's in from out of town, and it's them meeting again after the first time in years. And the entire scene, there is this very understated, quiet devastation of they still love each other, but they can't be together. And now they have to live the rest of their lives with this agonizing regret of the love that didn't pan out.
Time. Woof. All right, guys. Let's get sad. 5 minutes.
Billy, you piece of shit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I pick a fucking tragic ending? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, but not as tragic as mine.
Yeah.
So here's the thing about your scene is that, yes, there is a little bit of somberness, but both of them are in good situations, and we know that there's going to be good things for both of them ahead. Because Guy got that gas station that he kept talking about that he wanted throughout the film. He has a family. They both do. So they have happy lives. It's just like a little moment. And with mine, it's just like it's a heartbreak on a heartbreak on a heartbreak to the point where even Sykes's dog is like, dude, I'm not fucking going anywhere near you after you killed her. To have that one parental figure, that one true parental figure just taken from you in front of your eyes by the person that they claim to have loved, by the person who said to have loved them, that's just like utterly heartbreaking.
Okay, here's the thing. You keep saying like they're going to be fine. They have everything going for them. While their lives on paper should be great, you read it in their face in that scene. Everything out of their mouth, it's somber. Not to mention, Guy has to live with the fact knowing his daughter that he has never met is in that car, and he can't bring himself to go meet her because he knows it's just like something like I'll never be a part of her life. He has to live with that forever. That is not something you just can like live with. It's heartbreaking and the absolute sadness for both of these people of we do love each other still, but because of the way things worked out, we will never be together. And while we've managed to fashion our own lives, it's never gonna be quite right. You read it in their face. They're not happy about leaving each other, but this is the life they've unfortunately been aligned to. Now, I will say that yours, while sad, but it's also like the thing that turns everything around. Like Oliver has finally had enough. Even the dog has finally had enough. It is the kind of moment that makes Oliver kind of like come to life and get out of this situation. While it is sad and tragic, it propels him to live a better life. Like he gets out of it. He gets his happy ending.
He only gets his happy ending because after Bill Sikes kidnaps him afterwards, Bill Sikes is shot. That's not Oliver making that choice. Oliver gets grabbed and snatched up after that. And it's just the people of the town doing something about it. That's not Oliver's choice. And with yours, unfortunately, yeah, there is that little bit of ennui there, but there's also so many beautiful things going on around it. Like they both have children. They both obviously love their children. They're like it's beautiful Christmas lights, and it is a sad situation, but we know that both of them are going to be fine in the end. Whereas with Nancy, we know she's not going to be fine in the end because she's fucking dead. Bill Sikes kills the one person that truly, truly was connected to him, and he's lost that, and then he ends up eventually losing his life after that. Oliver loses the one person who genuinely cared him out of all of these characters, who has just done nothing but use him as a prop for his entire life. That's going to scar the shit out of him.
Here's the thing. You keep saying that like mind, like they're going to be fine and they're going to be great. I mean, no, it's not. Like they're going to be okay, but they're going to be living in a life they've both settled for, not the life that they want. And that kind of like just erosion will eat away at you for life. Now, like I said before, what happened was tragic, but it ultimately is the chain of events that gets Oliver out of his bad situation, and he will go on to have a better life. He will get a happy ending. This is not a happy ending at the end of my film. This is just quiet devastation and sadness and sorrow of a love that is just going to be unfulfilled. And that will go the rest of their lives. We don't know how that's going to pan out, but we can tell by the way they are around each other how much it eats away at them. Whereas you just said immediately, Sykes get what's coming to him. Oliver gets out of that situation.
Time. Okay. Bill, we are going to close first with you. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
The reason why the ending is so poignant is because it portrays the gradual erosion of love and the inevitability of life's compromises. They have to live this very sad existence knowing that they have both settled and they've caved to like the pressures of everybody else around them to do what was they thought supposed to be done rather than doing what they wanted to be doing. Guy has to live the rest of his life never knowing his own daughter. He has to live knowing that, like, this is a woman he literally just settled for. He names his son after the daughter he never got to meet. Like, if you think that they're going to be fine, that's just absolutely outlandish. It is just this universal thing that we can all kind of understand of people who deeply cared about each other but are separated by circumstance. And then they have this chance meeting to kind of get closure, but you see that it's never going to be there. You read it in their face. There is just this absolute anguish they're going to live their lives with.
Time. Okay. We're going to go over to Barr. Barr, you have 1 minute to close your argument when you start talking.
Bill is trying to make you think that the woman that Guy does end up with at the end has literally no connection with him. She does have a connection with him. They actually have known each other throughout this movie, and you show that connection grow and develop towards the latter half of the film. So it's not like he just settled for somebody that he doesn't know or to care about. He truly does care about his wife. Also, with mine, Nancy is the only person who has cared about Oliver. She's the one who was able to get him out, who is trying to get him out of danger. And when you don't know what is coming after this scene, it is the most anguishing thing because you hear her sobbing and weeping, just knowing that the one person, the one single person that she thought truly, truly cared about her is the one who's going to be taking her life away. What a gut-wrenching scene because you grow to love her as a human being and then you lose her.
Time. Okay. Well, I'm depressed.
Yeah, I'm all right.
I was going to watch that Bill movie, but then Holtzman recommended it to me, so I haven't watched it.
You mean The Umbrellas of Cherbourg?
Yeah.
Cherbourg.
I love that movie, and it's a musical. That should really tell you something.
That should tell you a lot.
That should say everything.
That's fair.
Yeah. You all right?
The macaw is dying.
You're not dying. You just can't think of anything better to do.
Live, Maggie, live.
Sorry, Maggie. I was kidding. It's a joke. Please don't murder me.
The arsenic is already in the mail.
Oh, good. I got
All
some
right.
lace. I'll make a fun time out of it.
Cody, you're kicking us off on this one.
Okay. So I thought this was interesting. Both didn't really make me sad because I haven't seen either, so I don't really know. It's just what they sold it on. And Barr could have been selling me, snake oil or some lying bullshit because he was able to paint the picture on his thing and tear down Bill's. Bill would like paint it up to this thing, and then Barr was like basically shocked that ain't fucking right, and then just would come back for it. And Bill just was playing this game, trying to compete, but it's like Bill watched the Umbrellas of Cherbourg. I think Barr lived it. I'm not 100% sure, but he seemed to know everybody better than anybody. So it was weird to me.
Okay, I'll go next. I thought this was close. I actually thought Bill did a really good job of making me understand why that moment is really, really sad. It started out like I was like, oh, that's sad. And then he was like, yeah, and then there's a daughter that he never meets. I was like, fuck, like that's a way to like really messed him up, talk about daughters. But I ended up going with Barr ultimately. I thought that Barr by the end, again, I've seen Oliver. It's been a really long time. I don't really remember a lot about it. And so the way that he was talking about the character and how take away what happens afterwards, because that's not what we're talking about. I thought that was a good point for him to bring up. That it's just like everything leading up to this and up to this character's death, who we've grown to love in the movie, and it's completely ripped away. I thought the line was super cheesy, but it was effective, where he was like, she doesn't get to have an ending because she's dead. I was like, whoa. But I went with Barr as well. Mark, your vote doesn't count. Where would you have gone and why?
Yeah, whenever I heard somebody pick the Umbrellas of Cherbourg, I thought, wow, you mean that movie where all they do is sing the entire time? Yeah, what a fucking torturous movie to deep cut. It's just yeah, I did go with Barr. Like this point kind of played out kind of like a defensive struggle football game, where even though it felt like one team was kind of making progress, there's just like something that just kind of happened that just kind of stopped them in their tracks. And kind of how I felt with Bill the entire time. Just kind of felt like he was making increment steps, and then Barr would just like kind of smash it down kind of immediately. It like just he was able to play a really good defensive game, and it was kind of tough for Bill to get any traction going.
All right. That means we are all tied up as we move into the third question, which was drafted by Bill. Lord save us all. This could get interesting. The category is actors and actresses, and your question is, which Cynthia Rothrock character would you most want to take on a date? Bill, you're welcome. 1 minute opening when you start talking.
Now, Cynthia Rothrock has played, let's face it, a lot of the same characters in a lot of these movies. We don't watch for the characters. We watch it because she's really good at Kung Fu. But if I had to go with one of them, I would want to take out on a date. The one I went with was Janet Dane from Sworn to Justice. Paint a picture. Here's her character. Unlike most movies where she's like a cop or a teacher, she is actually a psychologist. And this makes sense. She gets ESP when she interrupts a home invasion where her, immediate family are being beaten, killed. She is thrown out of a window. She falls 2-3 stories, rolls down a hill, bonks her head on a tree. ESP, because that's how it happens. And but through the rest of the film, she's not letting that stop her. She's living her life. She's dating. She's going out to dinner. She's going to play tennis. She's doing things while also trying to help people and also secretly fight crime as a vigilante. That's someone I want to go out on a date with. Thank you very much.
I like how you say she has this tragic thing happen to her. But she's doing her life. She's doing things.
She is.
That's funny. Barr, 1 minute when you start talking to Open.
So if there's somebody that I'm going to date, I want somebody who's kind, who's warm-hearted, got a good sense of humor, good head on her shoulders, level-headed. And honestly, I think that we get that more in mine. I picked Chris Fairchild from Rage and Honor. She is just such an intuitive, rational, beautiful person. Like her hair in this is just absolutely gorgeous. And her flirt game is just so good. Like immediately, the moment that she opens her mouth, you're like, all right, girl, you're hot as hell. Not only that, but you're smart, you're funny, you kick ass. I want somebody who fits all those. And I don't know. Yours is very irrational and very, very dangerous, Bill. I'm not gonna lie.
Time. All right. 5 minute freeform. When one of you starts talking.
the Beatles bowl haircut is what does it for you?
Yes,
That gets you hot?
yes, it does. It sure
Okay.
does, baby.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm not trying to kink shame, bud, but okay, whatever helps you out. So you have a thing for Peter Tork lookalikes. Who would have thought? So, but in all seriousness, you can say like she has a good head on her shoulders. Dude, she is literally all she wants is revenge. All she's after is Brian Thompson. That's her whole thing. It eats away at her character. That shit gets boring. Now, while mine has had some tragedy, she was like, you know what? Doesn't stop me from living. I'm gonna go out. You want to talk flirt game? How about strip karate to sensual saxophone music? That is flirting times a billion, sir. On your best day, on my best day, we have never flirted with such accuracy. I will have you know.
Well, Chris would know that I'm not very good when it comes to karate, so she wouldn't try to force that on me. But also, yours doesn't want revenge? That's her whole drive. She breaks into like secret, like villainous lairs just for the revenge.
She still finds time to go out and play tennis on a date.
Oh my God. And first of all, I would not want to date somebody that has ESP because I don't want them knowing every single fucking thing about me. That actually makes me kind of paranoid more than anything. Also, trouble just follows her everywhere she goes. Your life is in constant danger with her there.
Chris literally goes to the bad guy's house at the end. She goes looking for the trouble. Mine's still well, granted, she just happens to be there because of ESP. And here's the thing. This is why ESP... Here's the thing. Here's why ESP is going to come in handy. We go out. We're having a nice lunch. Don't have the fish. I already know I'm going to avoid botulism. Like, that's great. Are you kidding me? That is so handy on a date. We are guaranteed she's going to see in advance. This is where everything's going to go right and wrong. We're going to make adjustments. And then we're going to go to the casino. Because there's no way we're not pulling in some cash. Best date ever. Are you going to the casino? Are you and Miss Farrack going to go to the casino? No, you're not. Because you broke one up in your movie.
Well, here's the thing. Once House finds out what's happening, they're going to fucking throw you out and maybe kill you. Also, I already know how to tell when fish is bad, so I don't need her to tell me that. Okay? I have been cooking for years. But anyway, point is, at least with my pick, it's not like she actively has trouble always following her wherever she goes. Like, yeah, there's the one scene where she goes into her brother's lair to try to talk him down. Yours goes in there just guns a-blazing, just trying to blast everything to pieces while not surveying the scene around her. At least mine has the intuition and awareness to be like, okay, there's danger afoot, here's what could happen, blah, 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 blah. Also, she's not very witty, your pick. Like, okay. I wrote down the worst possible line I could have ever heard. And she goes, you, no, you. And then, like, kills a guy.
Okay, hold on.
Come on, that's the lamest shit ever.
Sir, yours could easily walk away from the opening scene at the ATM, but she decides to pick that fight. She decides to go out of her way. She could have just walked away, but she didn't. She had to assert her authority and then do a hackneyed joke at the have a nice day at the ATM. Who rightfully talks to machines in the real world? Nobody. That's a dumb joke. And then here's the thing. I have famously, I am a human garbage disposal. I will eat bad fish. Okay? So I am glad I have.
Why do you have her doing that for you then?
I need a psychic on my hand to know, hey, you know what? Actually, there's going to be some shit going down in here. We're not going to go. And then we're going to go to the casino. We're going to start racking up some money. And she can go, okay, we got to stop at this hand because that's when the house is going to start to know what's up. And then we can just go and enjoy our winnings. We'll go play some tennis. We'll go do some sexy lingerie, like, flirt fighting. It's going to be so much fun. Yours is just going to be like constantly complaining about Brian Thompson for 89 minutes. Sir, teachers in this movie apparently only do one thing and are boring. I'm just saying the way she portrays it because she's a teacher by day and she teaches Kung Fu.
She's a teacher who loves her students and has actually a lot of compassion and care for them. That's the kind of person that I would want to date, not someone who throws her life at risk.
Oh man, there were a lot of good lines in that. All right, Barr, you are closing first. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
Chris's family is important to her. And I think that that is such an honorable thing. It may have gotten her into trouble, but I think that that's just a great thing. She's funny, she's kind, she's compassionate, she's caring. She can take care of you. She can literally protect you. And that's the kind of woman that I want. Whereas with your pick, she falls in love way too fast. Like she looked at that guy and immediately just went blah, 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 blah. I don't want somebody falling that fast for me. I want it to be a good build. Who's supplying her all of these weapons? She's incredibly well armed, and like that makes me nervous. The whole ESP knowing literally everything about me, that makes me nervous. Because if I want to just like go out and get a hot dog by myself, and she's gonna know, she's gonna be like, "Why do you not want me there?" Also, she is willing to sleep with a guy who wears tighty whities. No sane woman should ever be okay with sleeping with a guy that wears tighty whities who is like 38.
Time. Interesting. We're gonna move over to Bill. Bill, you have 1 minute to close when you start talking.
All right. First off, it was the 90s. Tighty whities were unfortunately an option, and options were also very limited elsewhere. Other than that, I don't know where you're coming from with my gal not being like caring about people. Literally, she does the same thing. She goes and avenges her family. It just doesn't eat up her entire personality. She has other things she's interested in. And she's also caring and help others. She goes and helps Brad Dourif in his trial because she knows he's innocent. And thanks to the power of ESP, she's able to figure out and prove it and have that come out in the court of law. That's a wonderful psychologist. This is somebody I want to be hanging around with. I don't want to hang around with somebody that's just going to harp on like, oh my God, he killed my master and my father, my brother sucks. Da-da-da-da-da. That is the entire film. She is constantly putting herself in danger. She's constantly putting others in danger because they want to help her. That's why these kids get in trouble, because they think they're going to help her out. But no, they're just making the situation worse. Maya's sexy. She's wonderful. She's caring. We go to Vegas. We make some money, and we will know about you know what? I have nothing to hide. Let her know I'm getting hot dogs.
Oh my
This
God.
may be one of my favorite matches.
I'm so glad Cody has to make a decision on this. This is the best day of my life. This was better than me making you listen to Zen Arcade.
Zen Arcade.
Absolutely, it is. I'm not getting the point. It's fine.
I haven't returned to that show. Who gets to go first?
Mark hasn't gone first. That just makes the most sense.
Good, Mark. Couldn't happen to a better guy. I also want to know which one of these Spark would date.
All right. Mark, go ahead.
Springboard off of Cody's question. Probably neither. There was a lot of things that were said here today. I'm not. It's just I'm at a loss. I've done a lot of these, and it's just I think where I am standing on, or the point where I'm standing on, is okay. Which one of these two, if I were to spend one night with him, would I incur the least amount of damage? And I think Barr at least somewhat convinced me that it's probably going. The night that I would have with Bill's person sounds like it would be very chaotic and kind of weird. And the person that Barr set up is like, well, it would be kind of okay. Yeah.
Cody.
I took this question differently. Happily married. Thank you, wife. Will be dating neither of these people. I just took this something you both should be proud of. You would date very different people, and that is okay. Would be the most you want to take on a date? Sounds like neither. But for you weirdos, I was really uncomfortable for how Barr was getting. I didn't know if he was making like an eHarmony account live on call to
I
saying
have
like,
a match
"Hey,
runner set up after
call me up after this." I was really weirded out, and I heard lingerie like fighting. Weird shit. I ended up going with Bill, because when I think of a date, he painted a picture. Yeah, could be chaotic. Would never go, but chaotic. A lot of fun. Chance to win money, and I mean less whining. And he painted a picture that Barr's girl's gonna whine a lot. So I don't want that on a date. So it's not me. It's for Bill, and I think he did a good job. Good job, Bill. Please, I've never watched either of these movies.
Yeah, I don't know what just happened.
You
But I can tell you one thing for sure.
Yeah.
Bill has seen these movies, and Barr has not.
A fun fact: they were the first two movies I watched.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I went with Bill. I thought that Bill just had
Is that a Bill Nye the Science Guy joke?
It is.
Okay.
Bill.
And I thought that Bill just, I agree with Cody, like in the terms of going out for a date, saving me from bad fish, I'm there. I'm game for it. Having some fun at the casino, great. Fooling around, doing some karate, sounds fun. Barr's person sounded kind of annoying. I'm not gonna lie. So
Totally flipped.
this is weird, but I went with Bill, which means Bill is up 2-1 as we get into the final prep question. Barr needs to hit this in order to send it to the bonus. The category was drafted by Barr in the category of Criminal Underworld, the fandom category. Your question is, who is the most underutilized crew member in an Ocean's film? So, Barr, you get to kick this one off. 1 minute when you start talking. Sorry.
So when you are using people in a crew, you want to utilize their strengths in order to get to the goal that you're trying to attain. Not only that, you want to use them as much as you can and as often as you can when they are most necessary. Frank could have easily been left out of Ocean's 12. He's barely in the movie. They don't utilize his strengths. He's like a fast talking, smooth talking con man who's able to, talk anybody into like buying a bag of ice for like $700. They don't do that in Ocean's 12 at all. In fact, halfway through the film, he's in jail and he's never seen again pretty much until like maybe 2 seconds at the end. That's the most wasted potential for any cast member, for any crew member in this entire series.
Time. Okay. We are going to go over to Bill. Bill, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
So in the Ocean films, we're thinking, what are these guys' strong suits? What are their strengths? And how do we best use them? And I remember in the first one where we meet Yen, who was my pick for 13. But in the first one, he's like, hey, he's the grease man. And you see him doing incredible acrobatic stunts. Like, he is versatile. He is flexible. He is like a human, like, amazement machine of the things that he can get into tiny places. He can like just like get in and out of literally anywhere. So in Ocean's 13, what do we have this incredible dexterous person do? Disguise himself as a high roller to infiltrate the casino they're trying to rob. And he is literally just pretending to be somebody else the entire time. Talk about not utilizing anything in the box of tools. It's like taking a gun and using it as a spatula.
5 minutes when one of you starts talking.
I mean, how the hell are you going to have a gymnast just be a high roller and then just be literally anybody could have done that? Friggin' Casey Affleck, who has the personality of like a damp bag of sand, could have just been in that part and done it. Why they needed to utilize the one guy that probably could have came in handy in any other situation, I mean, that is like literally the definition of underutilized. I'm sorry.
Yen does stuff in the film.
Barely.
Frank doesn't do goddamn shit.
Okay.
The one thing that the one like actual like heist that he's actually used for, he doesn't do anything except for walk in at the end and realize that someone already beat them to the punch. That's literally the only thing Frank does in this film, aside from getting threatened by Andy Garcia's character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you're right. He does have to play the high roller. He's the one who walks up to the table just as they're about to knock out the Greco machine, and he's the one who actually has to bid that first high roll. It's like he's actually being utilized, whereas mine, Frank does literally nothing in the one heist that he's a part of, except for go, oh man, someone beat us to the punch, and then get thrown in jail. That's all he does, and he's a smooth talking con man who should be able to like talk his way into like getting into the house, or like, you know, talking a police officer into giving him a uniform or something like that. And he does nothing. Yen does stuff.
Here's the thing. Okay. And you keep bringing this up, and I'm just going to dig into this a little bit. So part of the whole thing of 12 is that they have to pull off a fake heist, and they have to make everyone believe they're doing this heist, even though they're really doing another one. Now, if you have to get the police to believe some stuff, which member of your crew would you want to be captured to start feeding them the false information? But also, you want someone that's good at their job at making people, as you said, pay $700 for a bag of ice. I think having Frank be the one get captured and have him be the one talking to the police, feeding them all the info that they need them to know so that they can make this elaborate fake heist pull off, he is absolutely the right guy for that job. Meanwhile, we have Yen, who is just disguised as somebody else. There is a whole room upstairs full of diamond necklaces that they need to rob, and they do it in the most unelegant way possible. You're telling me they couldn't figure out a way to sneak a duffel bag or something and get him in there, have him swap them out real quick while no one's looking, have him get out through an air duct or someone's butt crack? Like, that would have actually utilized him properly. I'm sorry. Like, they actually probably did. Now, granted, like, you don't see him, but that doesn't mean he's not doing stuff behind the scenes, because he absolutely is. Because, and what do? Rusty even says it. Oh, well, Frank knew about Catherine Zeta-Jones. Of course, that's the one they're going to offer up to them, because they already know about him. And alters nothing to their plan whatsoever. In fact, pretty much gets everybody where they need them to be.
First of all, Yen has to be convincing as that high roller, or else that just doesn't work. And he was convincing enough to pull that shit off. Also, they show Frank in jail. He's just sitting there moping and doing nothing. And everyone else gets thrown in jail eventually. And you're talking about, oh, they have to do this fake heist in order to get to the real heist. Well, they were doing a real heist before they got foiled. So the one part that he was actually supposed to be doing something in, they gave him nothing to do except for walk in and go, shucks. And with Yen, he is doing so much more. He is not only having to convincingly play a high roller, he has to be the guy who's confident and cool enough to trick the Greco system before it goes down, and place that first high roll.
So why get the gymnast to do it is what I'm saying. Literally, any one of them could have actually done it. And
Because,
also, if
Bill,
you need to throw the police off, it absolutely makes sense to have...
answer your question. Yen's the one who plants the bomb underneath the diamonds, and he has to use that athleticism to be able to get through the elevator shaft. Yen is the only person who can do that job, and he does his job.
So why
Frank
are they
does
wasting him,
nothing.
have him be dressed up? He could have been done anything else other than that.
Because
Why even put him in that situation?
because he's the only one who could have convincingly played that role.
I mean, Casey Affleck's character convincingly infiltrated a whole factory and got them to unionize.
But can he play
and
someone
overthrow
from
it.
Hong Kong?
Time. Okay, we're gonna start with Bill. Bill, sorry. Bill, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
The whole thing is who is underutilized. And I mean, you can make an argument that almost everybody's underutilized in Ocean's 12 because it's a fake heist. But if I need one of my members that has to get caught by the cops, and I want the guy who's like literally his absolute tool set is he is charming, he is convincing, he is a smooth talking con man. That's literally the guy I want. Put in that interrogation room, and he will be able to get them to believe whatever we need them to believe. Meanwhile, I'm going to take a gymnast and have him pretend to be a guy. Oh, because he has to strap a bomb to a bit. Literally, any one of those guys could have done. Don Cheadle could have done that, and he barely speaks English in these films. Casey Affleck could have done it. Like, literally anybody else could have done it. They could have had him better utilized elsewhere. He could have been crawling through. He could have been the one, sabotaging the get-go. He could have been crawling in the room. They didn't need to plant a bomb. He could have swiped them out. We could have used him better than we did. He's not a play actor.
All right, so let's go over to Barr. Barr, you have 1 minute to close when you start talking.
First of all, Yen was the only person who could have planted that bomb because you had to go through an elevator shaft with fast elevators, ridiculous angles, and incredible heights. Only an acrobat could have done that, and that's what Yen is. No one else on that crew is an acrobat that could have done the things that Yen does in that film. When you see Frank in Ocean's 12, he's not doing anything. I don't even think that there is a throwaway line about him like talking to like the cops in the jail cell and tricking Zeta Jones because of him. He's not the one who's doing that. That's Danny. Frank's just sitting in jail moping until he's finally released at the end. He not only is he underutilized as a crew member, he's underutilized as a character in this film because he does nothing, but he's such an interesting, unique character who is just so charming and convincing that he can literally make people do whatever he wants just because of that and because of how good he is at wordplay. It's completely wasted in 12. Yen is used as an acrobat.
Time. Okay. Wow. I'm still not over Casey Affleck. That's someone from Hong Kong. That was really funny. Oh man. Oh. All right. You guys ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I went with Barr. I thought that he did a really good job of telling me why Frank is a great character that didn't get to use his skills and could have been a benefit to the team. Whereas I think Bill started out, I liked where Bill was going of like, you have, and now I forget the character's name, doing the, like fake high roller thing. But I thought Barr pretty eloquently pointed out why, he is utilized. It's just not utilized the same way that like Bill was pitching. And even then he gets to be utilized as an acrobat towards the end of it. So I went with Barr. Mark.
Yes. Good fight. I will say this is probably the first time in debate where someone's argument has been greatly helped by the Bernie Mac show. As I believe that's the reason why Bernie Mac was not in Ocean's 12 all that much.
Great show.
Yeah, I did go with Barr. I mean, because like I think Bill made a very good argument that we have a guy like who's incredibly skilled, and we basically asked him to kind of play a part that we thought like Rusty would be able to do. He's the actor guy in the group. He could probably do it. But I feel like every time Bill would make a point, Barr would just say, "My guy did nothing," and I just don't think there's anything you can do when, even though your guy is maybe not doing the right things, but I think at least Bill threw in a couple of things of at least years where Yen contributed in ways that made sense, and my guy did nothing.
All right, Cody, your vote doesn't count. Where would you have gone and why?
Seems like a trend tonight of mine stuff not counting, but here it is. I went with Barr. The reason why is like basically what Mark kind of said. It was like really hard to compete, and I guess the only way you could utilize Yen more is to shove him in more tiny things and make him do it. Because like if there was like literally a tagline, but I thought about this like most of them utilize like each guy has a name about it. Yen could be like acrobat, Frank, nothing. Like smooth talker that just is there. Like, can we get more of him? Probably not. But yeah, so I think overall that's why I went with Barr. I just think I thought it was an interesting pick because I thought Yen is like crucial in all this stuff, but you painted it really well. But Barr just was like homeless, jobless guy sitting on the street. Nothing. I did nothing. You could have put anybody would have done my spot. So yeah.
All right, well, this means we're going to the bonus round.
Could it not be Oscars, please?
You get more of us, people.
Here's how this is going to work. I randomized the side of Fanzone that this is going to come from, either Fandom or Mazone. Then I do it every time. Sorry, and
I know.
And
I react every time.
Then I randomized the categories that were remaining that weren't drafted in the prep questions. So I'm going to say the category and then I'm going to say the question. Once I've repeated the question, you guys will be able to answer. Whoever says their answer first will be going first. You each get 45 seconds and then 30 seconds. Any questions?
Nope.
Nope.
All right. The side of Fanzone that was randomized was Melee. The category was sports.
Oh, thank God.
And the
Thank
question
you,
is,
baby Jesus.
the question is simply, what is the best sports movie of all time? So again,
Wow.
What is the best sports movie of all time?
Remember the Titans.
Okay.
Major League.
I was almost going to pick that too.
Remember the Titans versus Major League. I'm going to take Cody and Mark off screen. I am going to stay on screen to give you guys your countdowns. Because Bill spoke first, he will be going first. Bill, you have 45 seconds when you start talking.
In Remember the Titans, we get a movie that is set against the backdrop of desegregated high school where students have to come together and they have to find a way to work together and become a team. And they are led by the wonderful Denzel Washington, who is an amazing father figure to these guys, who is strict but fair. And what ends up happening is exactly what it sets out to do. They learn how to trust each other, how to depend on each other, and how to overcome and win. And we set it against the fighting tide of time where we know Denzel Washington's job is on the line. As soon as he loses, he's going to be out. But even the defensive coordinator who was against him coming, he turns around. They all come together. It is a beautiful movie about brotherhood and team spirit.
Time. Barr, 45 seconds.
with Major League, you're balancing a lot of things going on. You're balancing comedy, you're balancing romance, you're balancing some actual stakes with what's at stake with the team if they don't do well. You have these amazing characters that you remember. They all have their little things, but they're just so perfect. Like Wild Thing needing glasses and just finding that out later. It's such a funny bit when you see him walk out onto the mound with them. But you get these amazing baseball scenes that are just actually like really gripping when you're watching them. You have such you have an amazing villain who's just absolutely insane, but so entertaining to watch. Yeah.
Okay, Bill, 30 seconds.
Well, your movie is good. It leans too much into the comedy to really have the payoff happen. Whereas mine, you want to talk about a villain? How about the entire town they're in? That town hates what is happening. They're actively fighting against it. Everybody, including the school that hired him. But they are coming together. He leads these people. In fact, they get the town to come around. Everyone is rooting for them. It is exactly the kind of underdog story with a wonderful payoff of these guys coming together in brotherhood and managing to win at the end of the day.
It's a movie that we've seen a couple different times. Like 42 kind of does something very similar when it comes to that. We've seen a lot of better movies about segregation. With mine, you get very memorable characters, incredible sports scene. Like the way that the actual baseball games are shot are so entertaining. It's like watching an actual baseball game. There are stakes involved as well in mine. And I just think the characters, the performances, the comedy, the storytelling, it's all more memorable.
Okay. I'm going to bring in the judges. That was stressful for these two sports guys over here.
I immediately every person's name in that movie. Their names all went out of my head immediately. I just panicked and I couldn't name anybody. And I'm like, the guy from The Wire, the cheerleader, and oh god,
there's a racist coach in there somewhere, right?
I mean, literally everybody.
It's like my two fucking favorite sports movies of all time when it comes against each other. I made my decision.
You guys ready?
Yep. Well, I don't know if Mark is. No, he wasn't. You don't have to rush. You can think.
I've been
Actually,
leaning
rush.
this way. Let's just, yeah. I was leaning this way. Let's just, yeah.
All right. Cody, you are kicking us off.
Well, congratulations, you two assholes. You picked like two of my two favorite sports movies of all time and pinned them to get up against each other. When I heard best, I was like, no way Major League's getting picked, so we should be safe.
I almost said it too.
It's a great film.
And I would have picked yours if you had.
I had to go off of the question because it's hard to dictate this as anything other than if I tried to hear. There's a lot of biased in this question for me on both of those picks. So best sports movie. Bill pitched me on the best movie. He did not pitch me on the sports inside the movie. There were very little mentions of what happens with the football team. They come together to win. They're underdogs, but doesn't tell me football, why it's the best sports movie, best race movie, best civil rights movie, best high school movie, but sports. Barr hit enough of the sports. I don't think they're great. If his closing didn't meet you, I'd have to find something else. But Barr's how it's shot, how it's represented, the battles within the team. So I ended up going with Barr because I just had to. I had to go with sports as the key grip to it, and there was just not enough for Bill.
Okay. Well, this is gonna be fun because I went with Bill. I thought that Bill, it totally what Cody, everything Cody just said totally makes sense. and is valid. Maybe I should have used the sports thing more, but to me, what I heard was Barr saying things like the characters are memorable and the performances are memorable, but then couldn't name a person who was in the movie, couldn't name any characters from the movie. Whereas Bill was like, Denzel Washington is great. Here are specific moments that they are in the film. They have to do this. The town is against them. Barr brought up the crazy villain at one point in his movie, and then Bill was like, yeah, you want to talk villains? Like, my whole town's a villain. So I thought Bill just painted a bigger picture, was able to tell me more about his movie, and then ergo why it is better. Full disclosure, I have not seen Major League, but
Fix that.
yeah, I probably should. But based on the arguments alone, I did go with Bill. So Mark, you're welcome.
You look very handsome tonight, Mark. I just wanted to say that out loud right now.
Hey, Mark, what's that mustache wax you're using? It's doing
I'd
it's
like
fine.
to remind the competitors that my answer is already written down.
That's what I was about to say.
That's why it's funny.
Yeah, I'm kind of a similar boat with Cody here. I don't love Remember the Titans much as him, but I do still really, really like it. I am also not a baseball fan, but I fucking love Major League. It's amazing. So it was really tough, like hearing this question. And I think both said the right things here. And I think it is one of those 51-49 situations. And I did lean towards Barr here. I think where I do sort of agree with Cody. I think if there's anybody who I think hit more sports moments, it was Barr. But I think also I did kind of gleam on just in terms of like the movie. I think he also painted a picture of his Major League is trying to do a lot more than just be a good comedy. It's dealing with a bunch of romance and the kind of everything else is going along with it. I think Barr made Major League just kind of more new. I don't know nuance, but like just kind of gave Major League a bit more of a broader notion here.
Okay, well, that means your winner is Andrew James Barr. We are going to go to post-match interviews. We'll start by talking to Bill. Bill, great job tonight on this one. Pretty much as close as you can get in a match. Really, I think you each had a clean sweep, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
I
mean, we both won our respective categories.
Yeah, and it came down on a split decision at the end there. What are your thoughts on the match?
Up your butt, Joe Boo. They get that. Yeah, it's great. Dude, Tim, seriously, my thoughts of this match is why the fuck haven't you watched Major League? With that, we need to just discuss.
One time I told Brian Michaels that I had never seen True Romance during a debate, and I almost was laughed off the show. So
I would more of the case for Major League than True Romance.
That's fair.
Yeah. I should have picked Major League, and I second-guessed it. You know why I second-guessed it? Because people I work with love that movie. You know what they don't really love? Football or movies. But they fucking love that movie. And I need to get a little bit quicker in the speed rounds. That's usually what ends up being my Achilles heel, is sometimes my brain doesn't work as fast as my mouth. So, but good on Barr. So, yeah, not to take. I need to turn this around. I can't remember the last time I won one of these fucking things. So it's not great. So.
Yeah, I was looking at that. You haven't played a ton this year, Bill. You've only had 2 matches this season. They were both losses, but when
what was the other one? I don't even remember.
You played Nazario in.
Well, he beat me.
Yes,
he did. That fucking Toy Story question haunts me.
But Bill, when you come back next season, because you will be back, any thoughts on who you want to play?
Am I like under 500 or 500?
You are now, after this match, under. You are 4-5 now.
Fucking hell. Okay. I'm going to give you 3.
Okay.
Give you 3. And these are people I feel like 2 of them, I feel like just some chaos. 1 of them, I just feel like starting some shit. So, Spence? Alex does debate now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jack Benchuk.
Oh God, please.
Let me make him watch some of my movies. Please. I will horrify that fucking Canuck into a coma. He'll be like, oh, let's go with Oscar winners. I'm like, oh, 80s teen sex comedies. Watch Porky's, fucker.
Well, we'll see if we can make that happen.
It'll just be fun.
You guys are pretty close as far as so we'll see if we can make it happen.
Could you imagine him trying to watch some of the shit I watch?
I enjoy the thought of Jack Pinchuk suffering as much as the next guy.
I just feel like just be a fucking hoot and a half.
Bill, congrats on a match well played. We will see you next
Absolutely.
season. As we bring in Mr. Andrew Barr. Andrew, you were also 0-1 this season, but you lost a couple more times in a row than Bill. This one was kind of due for you here. Your thoughts?
First of all, congratulations, Bill. That was a hell of a match. And honestly, my favorite match that I've been a part of. So thank you so much for that, Bill. I think that some of my best work has been in this match. And I haven't had as much time to prep for this due to forces of God. So I'm just kind of happy with having gone to the speed round, to be completely honest with you. So I'm going to take this in stride. Thank you so much, Bill. Can't wait to do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. Barr, I don't want to look too far ahead to the future, but I'm gonna, because this does earn you another match because now you're risen in the rankings now, because of this win, and I do have your next opponent.
Please tell me it's Jack Pinchuk.
It's not.
Fuck.
It's Joe Fairley.
Fuck.
Your next opponent to kick off next season is going to be Joe Fairley. Your thoughts?
Give me the Keystone Cop.
I don't know what that means.
They're goofy silent film star cops that made from the 20s. All right, I'm old.
Oh, I get it because he's a cop.
Yeah.
Nice. Barr, any final thoughts from you, sir?
No.
I thought you played great, man. I loved seeing it. I agree with you. I think this was some of your best work. Thought you gave Bill a hell of a fight, and I look forward to seeing you next season go up against the whatever you said, the Cobb or
the Keystone Cop.
There you go. All right, let's get final thoughts, starting with Cody.
Yes, I thought maybe a Hurricane needs to hit Florida more often. I think Barr played really well, or give Barr 2 months to prep. I don't know what the scenario is, but overall, I think he played really well. I think Bill played super well too. I know Barr's been searching for a win for a while. I didn't think Bill was also in that same boat. I think because last time I guess I checked in, Bill's played for a title. So he just slipped down a little bit. I think there's a more aggressive side to Bill in debates. And I know he doesn't like to probably be that guy because he's pretty nice, friendly guy. But if he just taps in a little bit more, I think he can literally push people off. He already has weird enough categories that can push people into an uncomfortable zone. So if he can just attack harder on his opponents because he gets first pick, I think he can get right back into that win column, no problem whatsoever. I can see him continue for a title real soon. And Barr, I hope him and Joe sounds like a very interesting matchup. Way different categories. Anything possible in that match.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark, your final thoughts.
Yeah, when Barr said the Keystone Cop, I thought he was talking about Keystone Lights mascot, Keith Stone. So I was a little bit taken aback by that. But yeah, I'd never heard of Shannon Tweed or Cynthia Rothrock before having to debate or having to judge a Bill debate match. Certainly can bring a lot of that to the table. I thought I did well here today. Just like it just hasn't resulted in wins like the last couple of times, and I just don't think that's going to continue. At some point, it's going to correct itself. And yeah, Barr played really well tonight. There's no hiding that. And but most importantly, we did it. It was looking likely that maybe the championship match was going to get filmed, and we still had to do this one. But you know what? We did it.
That's fair. This was a great match. Like we said, a few months in the making, but it was worth it. Thank you to Barr and Bill. Thank you to Cody and Mark. And thank you to Brian and Kirk behind the scenes for helping out. I have been Tim. We'll see you guys next time with another great match. Until then, bye.
There we go. Thank you very much. Please come again. We have a lot more groceries.